program perhaps can be introduced into the CAP program. Maybe not in its whole entirety, but the certain aspects of what we're doing would perhaps be fairly beneficial to consider adopting some of these techniques. Now, certainly from the inception of the CAME program, it was quite evident from an institutional point of view that we needed to make a huge amount of changes. A lot of these changes were driven mainly from TEC to combat some of those inherent issues with literacy, language and numeracy. And a lot of those perhaps were taken on board from a funding point of view as well, because obviously we need to address not only these issues, but there also needs to be mechanisms within the program itself in order to then report back to TEC to monitor to make sure that we're doing our jobs correctly. One of the ways of monitoring what we're doing from an LLN point of view is obviously the National Assessment Tool, which is now being trialled out by Unitec as an institution. After the trial, it's then going to be rolled out from a national point of view. In the early stages of development of the CAME program, it was really mainly to address some of those issues. And it was felt certainly in a 16-week period, a single semester, getting students in the door and outing them after 16 weeks. They probably were no more developed as individuals than they were had they not arrived in this institution. So by creating a longer time frame of 2 semesters, 32 teaching weeks, it gave us the opportunity to actually start to develop the whole person. So there are some essential features within the CAME program that go to address that. And while we were certainly, to a certain extent, I had a vision of what we were going to be doing in the CAME program, the institution obviously had gone through many different changes as well. And some of those changes was the living curricula. The academic strategy had already been cemented and strongly anchored. However, the living curricula came along, and also then the e-learning strategy. This then gave us the opportunity to develop the program further and actually start to tick some of those boxes that needed to be ticked. We're certainly well on the way, and it looks like it will probably be the first program to get the institutional tick as far as the living curricula is concerned. So we're very happy with the progress that we have made. Certainly from when we first started off to where we are now, we've been through a huge learning curve. And each and every one of us has had to take on extra learning, and we've really had to start to think outside of the square. And sort of 6 weeks down the track, it's actually now a nice position to be in, that we know when the students turn up, we can direct them to what it is that they need to do, and we put ourselves as lecturers into a position that we are now facilitators, and we've actually put ourselves into their world. By putting ourselves in their world, it not only means that there's better engagement, but there is also now a sense of ownership of their own learning. And this is something that has never really been experienced in essence, what it is a Level 2 automotive foundation program. As we go on, as Lee starts to go through some of the things that we've been doing with them from an ICT point of view, you will certainly start to get the essence that we're really not only dealing with a Level 2 student, we're actually dealing with a student perhaps really at a higher level. But we've always put the student down at the bottom, and we've never really given them an opportunity to actually start to develop themselves as independent and lifelong learners. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to be raised, and I'm sure we'll do our best to answer a lot of these questions. Now, Naranjan has done his utmost to have a time allocation where members of staff can actually come on and start to experience from the point of view as a facilitator, see it from that side and also see it from the student side and actually see the engagement that we're seeing from the students. We've currently got 80 students on the programme, and I haven't been through the figures, but I would certainly say we've probably still got 80 students. 82 students from start to finish. Now, for a lot of lecturing staff, I know that this has been a programme which you have really wanted to sort of stand out from the programme and not sort of engage or ask us any questions or even say how's it going. So this is our opportunity to share with you how things have been going. Now we can get students who walk through the door at 8:30 in the morning and they stay from 8:30, and some of these students have even stayed till 5:30. And Sione has had to leave them in the classroom and go home. And I know when I was engaged in the National Certificate, the Level 2 programme, I couldn't keep the students' attention for more than an hour and a half, hour and 3/4. So what we're doing at the moment is conclusive proof that we have complete student engagement. So students remain in this classroom all day. And some of the work that they're producing is absolutely fantastic. Some of the presentations that they're doing are really quite high level. And a lot higher level than we would expect from a Level 2 student. Now, I've had in the past some PowerPoints. I've spent time going through PowerPoints, putting PowerPoints together, thinking that this looks very nice, very charming. I'm then going to deliver this to a group of students, and I'm hoping that they're going to be taking all this on board. Since we started this program, I haven't done one PowerPoint presentation. What I have done, I've expected the students to do their own PowerPoint presentations. So they're spending the time doing their own PowerPoint presentations, coming up here and delivering those back to the class. Which then puts us in a position when we're down here and actually in the students' world. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to pass on to Lee for a moment.
Jen. For those who don't know me, I'll introduce myself. I'm Lee. I've been here a couple of months. Before I came here, I was teaching at Swansea back in the UK, doing vehicle mechanics, essentially levels 1 to 3 UK standards. The kid, for every programme, you've got to have a plan of action.
Dave, can you turn the lights on?
You've got to be able to establish where you need to be and how you're going to get there. So as David just said, what we've essentially done is we've removed ourselves from the front of the students. Okay? We no longer stand up here and preach for that hour and a half where you're guaranteed they're probably only taking 10 to 15 minutes worth of information. And that 10 to 15 minutes information, you've probably spent about 2 or 3 hours preparing the PowerPoints, the notes and everything like that beforehand. And then when it comes to examination time, then you sit down, you're worried, did you teach them this, did you teach them that? The student didn't get the result that you expected them to get, and then automatically then you start worrying again. Did I teach them this, did I teach them that? What we've done is we have taken that scenario and we've thrown it out the window. And we have put them 100% totally and utterly in charge of their own learning.